Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're plunging into something huge, really. Artificial intelligence.
It's everywhere, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it feels like it's often wrapped up in, hype or fear or just confusion.
A lot of noise for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here to cut through that noise. We want to give you some clarity, maybe even a few aha moments.
Sounds good.
Our guide today is this really insightful piece. It's called AI Unmasked. And our mission, really, for you is to strip away the myths, the big claims, the misunderstandings. We want to get a handle on what AI is, what it does, and maybe just as important, what it isn't.
All based on this source material.
Right. And it uses some fantastic metaphors, really vivid stuff, promises a fresh angle, challenging those common ideas.
Looking forward to it.
Okay, let's unpack this. Let's get right into it.
Let's do it.
So when you hear artificial intelligence, what jumps into your head first? For lots of people, it's something, well, almost unreal, right?
A sci-fi.
Yeah.
A glowing brain, maybe?
Or, yeah, some super smart computer making perfect predictions. But this source, AI, Unmasked, tackles that head on. It says AI is not a crystal ball, nor a wizard behind the curtain.
And that's such a crucial starting point.
Right.
It immediately brings things down to earth.
Right.
It forces you, the listener, to ditch those fantasy ideas. No all-knowing beings, no hidden magic powers.
So why is that so important, dismissing the magic?
Well, because if you want to actually understand AI, how it works, what it can really do, you have to start there. Get rid of the fantasy.
Okay.
If you go in thinking it's magic, you'll either be terrified unnecessarily, or you'll misunderstand its real limits, which leads to bad decisions, maybe misuse. It just sets the stage.
Yeah.
AI runs on principles, on data, not spells.
Sets realistic expectations then,
Yeah.
demystifies it instead of letting fear or, I guess, awe take over.
Exactly.
So if it's not a wizard, what is it? The source gives this other analogy, and this one really stuck with me. It says, think instead a curious apprentice scribbling notes from every lesson you've ever left lying around.
I like that one.
It really paints a picture, doesn't it? This diligent student, not some grandmaster, just learning, watching, listening, taking notes on everything it finds.
Precisely. That apprentice metaphor is brilliant because it shows AI's intelligence isn't born, it's built. It emerges.
Oh, so?
It's basically a super sophisticated pattern matcher. It looks at massive amounts of data, those lessons left lying around, billions of images, texts, whatever, and just find correlations.
So it learns what goes with what.
Yeah. What's connected, how things usually play out, what outputs match what inputs. But, and this is key for anyone following AI, it highlights a major limit.
Which is?
It's great at finding connections, but it doesn't really understand cause and effect. Not like we do. It has no real common sense. It only knows what it's seen in the data.
Okay. So biases in the data.
Oh, absolutely. They get baked right in. Its learning reflects all the flaws and gaps in those lessons.
That's a critical point. So it's not thinking like a human, but recognizing patterns and making predictions from those patterns just on a massive scale.
You got it. Scale is a huge part of it.
And what I found really refreshing is that this apprentice, it isn't perfect. The source adds this very human touch. It stumbles, it guesses, sometimes it doodles in the margins.
Chuckles slightly, yeah, the doodling part.
It feels almost relatable. It totally clashes with that image of perfect, always right machine. How should you interpret those stumbles and guesses? Are they just bugs?
No, not just bugs. They're inherent, actually. Part of its learning process. Essential feedback, really.
How so? Essential.
Well, when an AI stumbles, maybe it misidentifies something in an image. Or a self-driving car gets confused by a weird sign for a second. That's data.
Ah, feedback.
Exactly. Guessing points to how it works underneath. It's often probabilistic. It gives the most likely answer based on patterns, like predictive text, guessing the next word. It's not certainty.
And the doodling.
Laughs gently. That could be, when a language model goes off on a creative but totally nonsensical tangent. Or maybe outputs that accidentally reveal biases from its training data.
So these aren't failures, but opportunities.
Opportunities, exactly. For developers to tweak things, adjust the model, maybe feed it better, more targeted data, to reduce the stumbles next time. It really hammers home that AI gives educated predictions, not absolute truths.
It sounds much more like a work in progress then. Always being refined.
Constantly. It's an iterative loop.
Okay, so if it's always learning, always improving, what's its purpose? The source gives another great analogy here, cuts right through the sci-fi fear. Less Skynet's doom, More Sherlock with data piecing puzzles, not plotting your end.
It's a powerful reframe.
It really shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from killer robots. But what does Sherlock with data actually mean in practice? How does that change what AI is for?
It changes everything. It focuses us on utility, on analysis. Think about Sherlock Holmes' meticulous observation, connecting dots, finding answers in the evidence.
Right.
AI does that, but with mountains of data we could never process.
Yeah.
Think fraud detection, finding tiny anomalies in billions of transactions. Impossible for a human.
Or medical diagnosis.
Perfect example. Analyzing patient histories, scans, genetic data to suggest treatments, seeing patterns may be too subtle for a doctor's eye. Its intelligence is that analytical power, finding insights, solving problems with data.
Making sense of overwhelming information.
Exactly. It's about augmenting our abilities, helping us make sense of complexity, not about replacing us, not in that Skynet way.
So, augmenting intelligence, not replacing it, helping us find answers we couldn't find alone. Okay, now, as we wrap this up, the source leaves us with one last really grounding image. It says, AI is clever, yes, but it's still learning to tie its shoes.
Cuckles, that sums it up nicely.
It's a strong picture of where things stand, right? Despite the impressive Sherlock stuff, it's still mastering the basics in some ways. What are those shoe tying skills it's still grappling with?
Oh, there are quite a few fundamental things. Big one is generalized common sense. That basic intuitive grasp of how the world works. AI lacks that.
So it struggles with nuance.
Deeply. Especially with things like humor, sarcasm, complex social cues, stuff that relies heavily on context it wasn't explicitly trained on. Real adaptive decision making isn't quite there either. It follows programmed responses to learned scenarios.
And reliability.
That's another. It can be brittle. Throw data at it that's too different from its training, and its performance can just plummet. It doesn't adapt robustly like humans do in truly novel situations.
So those are the foundational skills still being built.
Very much so. Researchers are actively working on all of this. It just reminds us, and you, that AI isn't some finished magical product. It's evolving. Sometimes it's still quite fragile.
That really puts both the power and the limitations in perspective. So for all of us watching this unfold, using these tools, what's the main takeaway here?
Keep perspective, I'd say.
Okay, well, let me try and summarize for you. What we've unpacked is that AI isn't magic, it's not a wizard, it's more like a very diligent apprentice.
A data-hungry apprentice.
Right, learning from all those lessons we leave online. And yeah, like any apprentice, it makes mistakes, it stumbles, guesses, maybe doodles a bit.
Part of the process.
Its real strength is being like Sherlock with data, finding patterns, solving puzzles, boosting our own abilities, not plotting world domination. And ultimately, even though it's clever, it's still learning to tie its shoes, still mastering fundamentals.
That's a great summary.
I hope that gives you a clearer, maybe more grounded view.
And building on that final thought, that image of AI learning to tie its shoes, here's something maybe for you to chew on.
Oh.
If AI is still basically in its infancy, still figuring out foundational skills, what does that mean for us? What's our responsibility, not just as users, but maybe in guiding how it develops? Demanding transparency, understanding its limits. How should knowing it's still an apprentice change how you interact with it every day? And what kind of future are we actually building alongside this still learning technology?
That's a lot to think about. Really powerful questions. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, trying to get AI unmasked.
My pleasure.
We really hope it's given you a clearer perspective on this amazing and yes, still evolving technology. Until next time, keep exploring.